I'm 60 Seconds Spidey, and I'm recapping mainline Spider-Man comics in timeline order. Here's part 4. Mary Jane's Aunt Anna wants to set her up with her neighbor Peter, who MJ discovers is Spider-Man when she sees him crawling into his window. On a trip to the museum with her aunt, MJ sees Spider-Man in a fight with Radioactive Man and is concerned for Peter when he loses. When she hears they are having a rematch, she rushes to the scene to observe the boy she will one day meet in action as Spider-Man. She tells herself she may not date him now, but she isn't afraid of the danger it would bring. Spider-Man captures a bunch of crooks, but one escapes and turns out to be the Chameleon. He calls in some help from Kraven the Hunter, who arrives in New York City for the first time and declares that he will hunt Spider-Man. Kraven observes his prey in action, learning his moves before attacking him and injecting him with a poison. Peter tracks Kraven to Central Park, where he is overwhelmed and placed in a magnetic trap. Spidey realizes that the Chameleon was pretending to be a second Kraven and takes them both down despite the poison. Peter is walking the streets with his girlfriend Betty when he sees a shadowy figure on a rooftop. The man says he tried to be a hero, but became a villain when cops arrested him for stopping a crime. Hawkeye fights Spidey, then returns to his ally the Black Widow before committing another robbery, where he is confronted once again by Spider-Man. The two fight, but Spider-Man thinks Hawkeye is holding back, so when he grabs a hostage, Spidey appeals to his better nature. Hawkeye releases the man and flees, leaving the stolen goods behind, so Peter wonders if Hawkeye may become a hero one day. Doctor Strange realizes a magical artifact was stolen and tracks it to an alley where a man is attacking Spidey with it. Doctor Strange intervenes and asks Peter for help, but unfortunately, all his friends are with him when he finds the artifact, and they're all transported to a dangerous magical reality. Doctor Strange villain Baron Mordo is behind the plot, so Spider-Man fights him until Doctor Strange appears and magics him into Dormammu's clutches. Now back on Earth, all of Peter's friends are shook, so Doctor Strange wipes their memories of this whole ordeal for their sanity. A traveling carnival is in town, and they invite Spider-Man to perform at their show, which delights the audience, but the ringmaster uses a magic hat to hypnotize Spidey and the whole crowd, except for a blind man who turns out to be Daredevil. Daredevil fights Spidey and breaks his trance, allowing Peter to fight off the evil carnies and save the audience as Daredevil watches the show. Spider-Man is fighting the Headsman, who was secretly given equipment by Norman Osborn. Spidey fakes his defeat so he can make it to his date, which is interrupted by Liz Allen, making Betty jealous again. When the Headsman learns Spidey is still alive, he flies out and tracks him down, endangering Liz's life in the fight, but Peter saves her while secretly, the Green Goblin debuts and silences Headsman, so he can't reveal Norman's secret criminal activities. Dr. Octopus recruits fellow villains and creates the Sinister Six, kidnapping Betty and coincidentally Aunt May as bait. Peter quickly jumps into action, getting clues to the location of each villain as he fights them. He takes out Electro, then fights off Kraven and some wild animals, as Aunt May talks about how charming Dr. Octopus is. Yikes. Spidey fights robotic X-Men created by Mysterio, defeats Sandman in an airtight metal box, and lassos the Vulture out of the sky. He finally tracks down Doc Ock's location and uses his webs to tangle him up while fighting him in a random water bowl. He saves Betty and Aunt May, who wants to thank their charming host. Yikes. After the Sinister Six fight, Dr. Octopus breaks out of jail and tries to hide out in Forest Hills, where Peter lives. Ock is surveying the area when Aunt May sees him and thanks him for his hospitality. Yikes. At a block party, Aunt May tells Peter about her encounter, so he rushes out and finds the doctor with a bomb. He's able to defuse it and crash the bomb into the block party lake, where he turns Ock into the police. Green Goblin is testing out new equipment, while Peter discovers that his classmate Flash Thompson has started a Spider-Man fan club. Spider-Man decides to visit the fan club to show off, but he's suddenly ambushed by the Green Goblin. During the fight, Peter overhears his classmate Liz Allen wondering where he is. When the Human Torch arrives to help, Peter quickly swaps back into civilian clothes to protect his secret identity. After rejoining the battle as Spider-Man, he overhears a phone call saying that Aunt May has been rushed to the hospital. He immediately flees the fight, leaving everyone to believe that Spider-Man is a coward. The Vulture has escaped prison, again, and hears that Spider-Man supposedly ran away from his fight with the Green Goblin. At the hospital, Peter worries by Aunt May's bedside, then runs into the Vulture on his way home. The Vulture agreed to kill someone named Wilson Fisk in exchange for his freedom, but Spider-Man stops the hit. He might regret that later. Spidey asks why he would do someone else's bidding, which causes Vulture to reflect on his friend's betrayal that led him to becoming a villain, so he decides to turn himself in. Peter is taking care of a sick Aunt May when he runs into Liz Allen, making Betty jealous once again. They go to lunch when a colorful group of kids walk in, but suddenly a mutant villain breaks in next door. Peter rushes over to help, but finds out that the kids from the restaurant are actually the X-Men. Together they stop the mutant menace, but Peter is too worried about Aunt May's health to help them anymore, furthering his current cowardly reputation. Aunt May is home recovering from her latest health issue, while Jameson is gloating over Spider-Man's cowardice at his fan club appearance. While trying to make money doing odd jobs as Spidey, he runs into the Sandman, but hides from him, afraid of what would happen to Aunt May if he was hurt. Sick of defending Spider-Man to his friends, Flash Thompson dons a costume but is quickly beaten, losing faith in his former favorite hero. Aunt May tells Peter the Parkers are a tough family and he needs to stop worrying so much, so he regains the motivation to be Spider-Man once more. A legally distinct Scarecrow villain is committing a robbery when Spider-Man intervenes, but he's taken out by Scarecrow's flock of crows. Green Goblin tries to recruit Scarecrow but is turned down. Aunt May reminds Peter how tough their family is, motivating Peter to go beat the straw out of Scarecrow and stick him in a web ball. Still believing Spider-Man to be a coward, the Human Torch is patrolling when he is captured by Sandman and the Enforcers. Betty admits to Peter that she is dating reporter Ned Leeds, but Peter plays it off, making Betty even more jealous. Itching to prove he isn't a coward, Spider-Man goes to save the Human Torch, but ends up in a deadly fight. The two heroes team up and take down all 4 villains, proving that Spider-Man is back for good. Thanks for watching part 4 of my Spider-Man timeline recap. Like, follow, and subscribe as I post daily shorts and long-form compilations.